I've been a Conservative member for well over 30 years. Since my early days in the Young Conservatives, I've always enjoyed campaigning, knocking on doors, delivering the leaflets, talking to people about how we can change our country for the better. That sense of driving opportunity, meeting people's hopes and aspirations, delivering security and stability at home, now and in the future. It's what makes me a Conservative. But for me, it's also about social change and public service. It's why it's such a privilege to serve as Community Secretary, not to hold a title, but to have the opportunity to bring about change for the better, leading efforts to build the quality homes our country needs, ensuring that the chance to own your own home is something felt by more families, creating great places and strong, confident communities, providing opportunities and raising ambitions for the next generation, a positive future and a country we can be proud of.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm honoured and privileged to introduce a great man with a great role, Member of Parliament, Secretary of State for Housing and Communities and the Local Government, James Brokenshire.
That was incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Shazia, thank you so much for those inspiring words of introduction. Shazia, I think, and you will agree, is a great example of Conservatives making a difference in local government and making a difference in the communities they serve. Thank you, Shazia, for all of your public service and everything that you do for our party. Can I also introduce my fantastic team at the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government? Kit Malthouse, Jake Berry, Rishi Sunak, Heather Wheeler, Nick Bourne and Nigel Adams. And also our tireless PPSs, Chris Philp and Leo Doherty, and our whip, Jeremy Quinn. Friends, it's been quite a year for me, and today is a particular personal milestone. When I addressed our conference 12 months ago, I didn't know it, but I had lung cancer. In some of my darker moments earlier this year, I questioned whether I would be here at all, let alone fit, well, and able to speak on this stage today. When you receive a cancer diagnosis, when you're forced to confront your own mortality head-on, it makes you appreciate what's important, what makes life worth living. I know I couldn't have got through this period without the incredible love and support of my wife, Kathy, and our 3 children, Sophie, Gemma, and Ben. They've kept me positive. They've helped me get through surgery, through my recovery, and back to strength. But I also know that if it wasn't for our amazing NHS, I wouldn't be here today. They saved my life, and in some way will have touched the lives of every person in this hall. To everyone who works in our NHS, thank you. You are amazing. You are all amazing, and we absolutely pay tribute to all that you do. Now, I may be part of one lung lighter, but it hasn't diminished my passion for our party, my pride in our country, and my earnest belief that our best days lie ahead of us. That is what makes us Conservatives. And a key part of this is building the homes our country needs. The Prime Minister is right in seeing this as our biggest domestic priority. And I'm proud to serve alongside her to meet the challenges of our time and harness the opportunities of the future. We must respond to the uncomfortable truth that through decades of underinvestment and lack of political will, for too many, a home of your own is unaffordable and out of reach. Everyone deserves a decent, affordable, and secure place to call home. When a generation is locked out of the housing market, it hurts us as a country. It's the impact it has on the lives of individuals and their families. It's about social justice, opportunity, and building a fairer, stronger Britain. A Britain where generation rent can become generation own. A Britain where we turn the vision of a place you call home into a reality. Now, the last time a Conservative government committed to building 300,000 homes a year was in 1951, when Harold Macmillan was Conservative Housing Minister. Supermac did it then, and we will do it again. We will build 300,000 homes a year by the mid-2020s, and we've made an important start. Since 2010, 1.1 million new homes built. Nearly 500,000 families are now homeowners, thanks to Help to Buy and Right to Buy. And a million first-time buyers are expected to benefit from our cuts to stamp duty, with 80% of first-time buyers paying no stamp duty at all. If you aspire to own your own home, then I want to say this to you. We will help you. We will build the homes our country needs. We will support you to save for your deposit. We will break down the barriers standing between you and the opportunities you deserve. We will fix our broken housing market and make it work for you. Now, as for Jeremy Corbyn and the Labour Party, they may have given the red flag a reboot, but it's the same old socialism that brought our country to its knees and would do so again. Under the last Labour government, house building fell to levels not seen since the 1920s. The number of first-time buyers collapsed by over 50%. Housing became more unaffordable, not less. Labour doesn't believe in increasing home ownership. They'd suspend Right to Buy and shatter people's hopes and dreams of the chance to buy their own home. It's the same old story from the same old Labour. No matter what they say, you know we'll all have to pay. But I know that there is much more to do to get the homes we need built. We need to be bold and radical to remove unnecessary barriers and speed up delivery. And in doing so, we need a reformed planning system that is effective and responsive. In July, I published the new planning rulebook. It provides greater certainty and clarity for developers and communities alike, to know the requirements and expectations and encourage a plan-led approach to development. Strengthening, yes, the protections for our environment and our precious green belt. But we need to be smarter on how we use land and the space available, prioritising brownfield, but also looking at land that's already been built on. That's why I'll publish proposals to permit people to build up on existing buildings rather than to build out to use more precious land, and give councils greater powers to deliver the garden communities of the future. But it's not just about getting homes built. It's about fairness. Some practices in the leasehold market, such as unexpected costs that rise every year and bear no relation to services, can turn a homeowner's dream into a nightmare. That's why we're banning the unjustified use of leaseholds on new houses and limiting future ground rents for long leases to a peppercorn. But we also need to address quality issues in new homes too. That's why I can announce today the creation of a new homes ombudsman. This new watchdog will champion home buyers, protect their interests, and hold developers to account, and give confidence that when you get the keys to a new home, you get the quality build you expect and the finish you've paid for. Getting a fair deal extends to private renters too. We've created a rogue landlords database to identify the worst offenders. We're banning unfair letting agent fees being passed on to tenants and capped deposits too. Fairness also needs to be felt by people living in social housing. That's why I want to see a new deal for social housing tenants to deliver decent homes, strengthen redress, and break unjustified stigma. Equally, as Conservatives, we're committed to supporting the most vulnerable in our society. It is simply unacceptable in modern Britain that there are still people living out in our streets with no roof over their head. Our Rough Sleeping strategy and Rough Sleeping initiative are focusing efforts to drive change to give support to those most in need, so that we end rough sleeping for good. Most profoundly, though, people should feel safe in their own homes. It's been over a year since the tragedy of the Grenfell Tower fire. The unimaginable horror has rightly shocked us all and underlined the need to do all that we can to see that such a disaster cannot happen again. My work with Grenfell United and the wider community has been hugely helpful in keeping this issue right at the top of the government's agenda. And that's why today I can confirm that I will change the building regulations to ban the use of combustible materials for all new high-rise residential buildings, hospitals, registered care homes and student accommodation, and bring about a change in culture on building safety. Now, in advancing our ambitious housing agenda, we need to create strong, prosperous, confident communities, socially and economically, giving a sense of identity, a sense of place and an affinity to the places where we live, where we work, where we spend our time. Communities where we recognize diversity and heritage. How this makes us stronger. How we all have so much more in common that divides us. We have to defend the civility of civil society against hatred and separation. We have to be robust in challenging anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim hatred, and division based on religion, heritage, or background. There is no place in our country for bigotry and intolerance. And as Conservatives, we will stand up against this in all its forms. Now, at the heart of our communities are our towns and high streets. Our high streets are the beating heart of a local economy, and local businesses are their lifeblood. That's why I'm proud that we've launched the Great British High Street competition to recognise, to champion and to celebrate innovation and success. But we know technology is changing the way we live our lives and the challenges that this is bringing. I look forward to receiving the work of our new High Streets Advisory Panel, led by Sir John Timpson, so that we can take further action to support our high streets and help them continue to do what they do best. Now, I know that so much local success relies on the dedication and hard work of Conservatives in local government around the country. And I want to thank all of our councillors who work tirelessly for their communities. It's because of you, people understand that with a Conservative council, you get quality services and lower taxes. We asked Conservative councils to help fix the mess left by the last Labour government, and they have delivered. In return, we've devolved power, localised business rates, created a swathe of city regions, founded local enterprise partnerships, kick-started local industrial strategies. Through the Fair Funding Review and business rate retention, we have the opportunity to drive further change, to support innovation, and get the very best from local government. But I know an ageing population and growing demand are creating real pressures on public services. Health and social care are inextricably linked, and any reforms must be aligned. That's why I'm working with Matt Hancock, recognising local government's direct interests towards the publication of the Social Care Green Paper. This will include plans to reform social care, provide better integration of services, and put the care system on a long-term sustainable footing. And as we leave the EU, we should be confident, we should be positive about the potential of each part of our country and the contribution they can make to drive our future prosperity. Through the Northern Powerhouse, the Midlands Engine, and Silicon Vale linking Oxford, Cambridge and Milton Keynes, through city deals and local growth funds, through the UK Shared Prosperity Fund, supporting continued regional investment, helping deliver a country that works for everyone. And friends, we will harness the opportunities that are presented to us. In 2022, Birmingham will host the Commonwealth Games. It will provide the platform for this great city to shine on a global stage. The chance to drive economic potential. The chance to create a sense of pride, not just in this city, but our country as a whole. That's why I'm proud today to announce the government funding for the construction of the Athletes' Village. We will invest £165 million to help support the delivery of 5,100 new homes, but just as importantly, create a long-lasting legacy for Birmingham and from the Commonwealth Games. And this is part of our Conservative mission, to create a legacy of new homes and communities for your children and mine, to show that to be Conservative is to want to build for the future, not turn away from it, and in doing so, draw on our traditions, history and knowledge. Whether through new homes, villages, towns, cities or communities, we Conservatives are working to build a new Britain, a people reconnected to our nation with renewed pride and energy, optimistic and hopeful for the future, because the nation we are building is one where opportunity is for all and no one is left behind. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.